form is deceptive. In reality, death is noisy. In the head of the dying person, there is a form of excitation, an electrical impulse that spreads from neuron to neuron. This wave is not confined to the cerebral cortex, but also invades the striatum, the hippocampus, and the thalamus. A huge flash of energy and light. A great interior fire.
Adam felt it. Yes, he really felt that moment, that shift, turning point, when life goes on. That morbid moment when a cold draft suddenly crosses space. He couldn't watch until the very end of that precise moment when life slips away. In a second, Adam had become a murderer. Adam had done good things, bad things, but he had never killed anyone. Now his brain is twisting, convulsing. It is a cold fever which won't go away. Now Adam is someone who has killed someone. An assassin.
After a few minutes, the inert body oozes and sometimes has goosebumps. The kidneys, pancreas and liver cease to function within half an hour, destroyed by their own secretion of ferments and enzymes. Dehydrated, the skin retracts. Bacteria in the colon and intestines proliferate and spread through the blood vessels. The microbial fauna releases nitrogen, carbon dioxide and ammoniac. The eyes are already beginning to slowly detach from the eyeball.
There are so many ways to die, and so many ways to kill. By eating, by talking, even by not doing anything, it's so common to kill. Statistically, Adam can't be the only murderer among all these people poured into the city's vein. It is known that the best hiding place for murderers is anonymity, normality. But are there any normal people here? Robert, who works for a Chinese employer he doesn't know, and who earns 500 times his salary? He has been in depression for several months. Or young William, who has no idea what his future will be like between global warming, the predicted end of the oil fields, and major pandemics. Those ants who frantically follow each other, thinking that this is the norm. In the middle of this infernal circle, those who have run out of energy are lying around. They will soon be joined by the others. So what is normal? The truth is, we are a bunch of sociopaths. Nous sommes des fous.
Men are 4 to 5 times more likely to become sociopaths than women, because a high level of testosterone is required. Combined with serotonin, it greatly promotes pathologies. Of course, not everyone becomes a killer, Those who act out often have a deficit of grey matter in the limbic area. Serial killers are therefore cold-blooded killers, just like their reptile brothers. In reality, this often comes from childhood. A situation of stress and anxiety in a child can generate a series of biochemical alterations, like the increase of the level of manganese and cadmium. This can provoke self-mutilation and criminal behaviors.
From molecules to decisions, a series of physico-chemical reactions. In the middle of all this, what does man really decide? Who is in charge? What is our responsibility? One thing is certain. Evil is the whore of our souls. Une putain.
In Düsseldorf in the 1920s, Peter Kürten was the author of a long series of murders and burned down nearly 1,500 houses. He said he felt an almost sexual pleasure when he heard the cries for help. Leonardo Canciulli murdered 3 women in the town of Correggio between 1939 and 1940 and used their flesh to make tea cakes, which he offered to the ladies of her neighborhood. Jeffrey Dahmer was born in 1960. He was a chemist. He killed about 20 men, whose bodies he dismembered. He ate his victims so that they were reborn in him. He was sentenced to 957 years in prison. What connects these sociopathic killers is well known. As children, all of them were arsonists, wetting the bed very late and torturing animals.
Poisonous deep black souls, like those who enslaved and killed millions of innocent people in the gulags of the Soviet Union through exhaustion. Ou ceux qui ont tué près de 80 jeunes écolières à l'est de Kaboul un beau matin de mai. Ou ceux qui ont attaché Ahmad toute sa vie à un chêne parce qu'il était légèrement déséquilibré. Or that of Bashar al-Assad, who knowingly organized the torture of children like Hamza el-Kateb, 13 years old, in the jails of his power. He has mutilated thousands of others by dropping tons of chemical weapons on them. Meanwhile, he and his wife cherished their children in his palace in Damascus. Times of war often speak volumes about the deep nature of men. But where some souls have taken humanity into the abyss, others have become ennobled.
In the suburbs of Ghouta, under siege by the government and the Russian allies, Dr. Amani Balour has operated and saved thousands of children in appalling conditions. During the Second World War in the Warsaw Ghetto, there was Irina Sendler. Irina asked to work there as a plumber with the sole purpose of saving children by hiding them in the bottom of her large toolbox that she carried in the back of her vehicle. She saved more than 2,500 children, knowing that this could be her death sentence. There was also Janusz Kozak. On August 5th, 1944, he deliberately took the 200 children from his orphanage out of the Warsaw ghetto to the gas chambers in Treblinka. Janusz dressed them with the dignity and accompanied them until the last second of their agonies, during which they tried in vain to climb the walls with their bare hands to escape the gas.
When the gas ran out, they threw the children alive into the furnace. What goes on in the mind of someone who throws a child into the fire? In those flames, nothing but the convulsions of humanity. Yet these men and women felt they were doing a necessary job for the good of the nation. They created their norms, their truth, their narrative.
This narrative of the good was written in the 1930s by this very cute little being, a storyteller.
Because crowds like to be told stories, and when thought legitimate, they can be very warlike. Nowadays, some victims of the past have become the executioners.
Mother Teresa was considered the ultimate good woman. Yet she considered the suffering of the poor as a gift from God, and encouraged them to accept their fate and suffer their passion as Jesus Christ did, exhaling Christian dolorism.
Gandhi, on the other hand, would have made the cover of the Puritan newspapers because he slept naked with teenage girls. He also declared that if he had had the atomic bomb, he would have used it against the British. Shocking.
Patrice Lumumba was assassinated, leaving behind him an image of a hero. And yet, in his very brutal politics, he was responsible for many massacres in Kasai and Katanga, which caused the loss of thousands of lives.
Che Guevara erected hatred as a factor of struggle, an uncompromising hatred towards the enemy. He showed no mercy and was responsible for the execution of hundreds of people in Cuban prisons. As a poor tactician, he was murdered by one of these same peasants just because the crackling of his weapons frightened his flock. The anodyne banality of evil.
For Spinoza, we call good or evil what serves or harms the conservation of our being.
It would thus be only a question of social constructions. Finally, who will tell us what is good or bad? God or the devil?
They are buddies. They get drunk together. They are the wholes of our souls.
The Native Americans don't have any word for God. They are not concerned. Nature is their only divinity. But everywhere, strange beliefs have arrived, certainties. Let us move away from the nights that we carry in us, this interior darkness, this blackness, that one between the stars. In short, the universe, our great matrix, is big, and nobody knew how to put order in this mess. Un bordel.
Yet we are the universe. Our body is made of carbon and calcium like the stars. These stars that we see, but no longer exist.
But there are also black holes. These masses so dark that the light cannot escape. But finally, just for a moment, catch the innocence of the child. Keep him away from certainties.
He is led by the star. Don't let him be afraid of the darkness.
To lose him would be to lose eternity.
Go, go, go.